Howdy. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Classic Mayan, its origins, and how it was written. For hundreds of years, archaeologists have found thousands of examples of Mayan hieroglyphs throughout the lowland Mayan area, from pottery to manuscripts to stone monuments, and struggled to understand the meanings of them. Until fairly recently, with the decipherment of the script in the 1980s and 90s, not only were the meanings of these texts unknown, but it was widely believed that they belonged to a number of different Mesoamerican languages. However, surprisingly, it turns out that a majority of these texts are all representations of a single prestige language that may have existed long before a written adaptation was ever widely adopted. This is the language that some experts refer to as Classic Mayan. Over the course of the 19th and 20th centuries, many attempts were made by a number of individuals to decipher the glyphs. Many initially only believed the glyphs to be representations of ideas and not an actual representation of a spoken language at all. Some, like missionary Diego de Landa in the mid-19th century, tried to decipher the glyphs by creating an alphabet that represented individual vowel and consonant sounds. Eventually, however, through the efforts of many dedicated Mayanists, the writing system eventually was discovered to be logosyllabic, meaning that the writing system was capable of representing both words and syllables with symbols. In Classic Mayan, logograms follow CVC and CVCVC syllable patterns. Syllabograms follow CV syllable patterns, with the final syllable of a word having its vowel unpronounced. Individual words in Classic Mayan can be written a number of different ways with this system. This reminds me quite a bit of the use of kana and kanji in the Japanese language. Logograms can even have their pronunciation clarified with the use of helper syllabograms, very similar to the use of furigana in the Japanese language.
To demonstrate this concept, here's me writing a basic sentence in Japanese. I like chicken because, well, I like chicken. So, as you can see here, I identify the three kanji logograms in the sentence, and I write the hiragana pronunciation of each of those characters above it. That indicates how each of those logograms is supposed to be pronounced in terms of syllables. Classic Mayan writing can function very similar to this.
Classic Mayan was a predicate-initial language. Both verbs and nouns could be used as predicates. Word order could vary quite a bit depending on context, and verb-object-subject, object-verb-subject, and subject-verb-object word orders were all used. Absolutive and ergative pronouns were used to refer to personage in Classic Mayan and, interestingly, did not indicate gender. Classic Mayan usage peaked during the Mayan Classic period, from around 250 to 1100 AD, which is what experts widely consider to be the peak of Mayan civilization, with many of the most recognizable pyramids, monuments, and statues being built during this time. The mysterious fall of Mayan civilization is a subject of much debate, and there were likely a number of factors that contributed to its collapse. It is believed by the 800s that the Mayans had reached the carrying capacity of their lands, that is, their population had begun to exceed the resources available for them to consume. This, combined with a great deal of political instability and warfare in the region at the time, is what scholars believe ultimately led to the Mayans abandoning their major cities and infrastructure. They did not, however, disappear. As a matter of fact, it wasn't until 1696 that the Spanish officially conquered the last of the independent Mayan city-states. Classic Mayan is an incredible language with a fascinating history. From the cool-looking hieroglyphs that make us think of burritos, to being able to marvel at the genius of this highly effective writing system capable of transliterating information both phonetically and abstractly, it's absolutely incredible to see that the Mayans were able to not only create a highly sophisticated language, but were able to complete a completely original writing system for it, teach it to other people, and spread it throughout a region thousands of miles long, Bach tons before the internet was even within the realm of science fiction. Or, well, really even before science fiction even existed, for that matter.